run good routes, and when they catch the ball, they can do something with the ball and making you miss and running. So we got to have good tight coverage, and whenever they catch the ball, be able to tackle them immediately and get them to the ground.
What's Desmond Trufant? This would be a game he could really kind of go up against a guy like Robert Woods or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Marquise Lee and Robert Woods told Desmond, and this is his money game right here. He can improve his stock dramatically right here, and it's a great challenge for him to go up against one of those guys or both of them throughout the game, and then display what his talents versus their talents.
What kind of year has he been having for you guys?
He's been having a solid year. He's been doing a great job in coverage, good job tackling. I mean, he's been doing a good, really good job. Last game he just missed the tackle and the guy scored on him. That happens sometime in the secondary. But so far he's been playing great.
What about on the other side? Whether it's Trey or Greg or some of those other guys, Marcus. What's the competition been like over there?
It's an open competition. Every week is different because what we're looking for is consistency out of those guys, and each one of them has their demons, but they also bring some good things to the table too, as far as what they do as a cornerback. But every week changes. Sometimes we need Marcus's long arms and physicality. Sometimes we need Trey Watson and just his wit, and competitive nature. And then we're going to need Greg Ducre's speed, that he has. So it just depends. But what I'm looking for out of those three guys is consistency.
And it looked, especially like with Trey and some of those guys, they kind of brought their hat with them today. It looked like they kind of got back to work and got after it a little bit.
Yeah, well, we had a meeting about communication, details from what last game. We had a few breakdowns in the Oregon game. And, so we met as a group the last, Sunday, and then this morning. And then we talked about those things. I made those guys sit seat by seat next to each other within the first 3 rows and the first 3 chairs, so they can get used to being close together and making us a tighter group and communicating with each other.
So was that just an issue that showed up in the Oregon game, or did you feel that was something that maybe has been kind of brewing over the last few games?
We had communication issues between the corners and the safeties before, but we just trying to eliminate that and make sure that both the corners know what the safeties doing, the safeties know what the corners are doing, and they're hearing one clear message and voice from me.
Is there? I mean, obviously Oregon in the one play in particular was they were really getting up to the line. I mean, was that an issue in that game at all?
No, we were fine. We were all right with their tempo and the things that they were doing. It's just a matter of us getting the call and then us looking at each other and communicating what concept that we're playing. Because if we're playing a slot, we can do a bunch of different things. So we got to communicate, whether it's verbal or hand signals, and be on the same page.
Is it a mix of both, verbal, hand signals?
Yeah, it's verbal if you can hear each other. I don't know if we'll hear each other in CenturyLink, but then it's going to have to be hand signals. When it was at Oregon, they're pretty quiet when their offense is on the field, so it could be verbal and hand signals. So it has to be both.
Keith, with regards to Desmond, Coach Sark said in his show last night that when his scouts are around and things like that, they're getting feedback that he might be a top 3 corner in the country. Is that something that you think even registers with him right now?
I don't know if it registers with him right now. I try to just keep him focused on playing, and if he continues to play, if some GM thinks that he's a top 3 pick or a top 3 corner, then great. But I try to eliminate that distraction, and he shouldn't worry about that right now, because if he just focuses and plays like he did the first 5 games, then he'll find himself worthy of that.
Is it kind of dumb to even say that this is probably the toughest game for your guys so far with the talent that SC has on the other side of the ball? Is that...
No, I think those guys, Robert Woods and Marquise Lee, I mean, and then we'll face later on, Marcus Wheaton and Brandon Cooks. But I mean, arguably, who's better between those 2 teams, between those 2 receivers? I mean, they got great speed, great route running, and great ability after the ball is caught.
Yeah,
we got a job to do, and we just got to do it, no matter what receivers are out there.
Yeah.
When they're moving Lee around, what's important for your backs? Is it just communication of he's here now, he's there now? How do you?
Whether it's Marquise Lee or Robert Woods, it don't matter. We know that they're both going to be on the field, and we got to cover them both. So we're not just focused on Lee, because then we forget about Woods, and then Woods takes us for 200, 300 yards. So he caught, I don't know, however many balls, 100 and some balls last year. So we got to know where they both are.
But they make it hard, though, too, right, to try to just match up one guy on them, right?
Oh, yeah, because they'll line them up at X and Z on the different sides of the ball, and then they'll hide them sometimes, and they'll put the tight end at the number 1 receiver outside, and they put them in the slot. So you just got to know where they are, and we have our coverages and things that we'll do to kind of match them up. But we'll always know where they are, no matter where they are in the field, even if they're in the backfield.
But it's not one of those where you can try to look at a certain personnel and say, we want this guy guarding that guy all the time.
That'll be tough, because then then you get into mismatch issues, and then you end up playing a linebacker where you don't want to play them. You just got to know where they are and then know what they do from the positions that they're at.
Thanks.
Right.